guys, welcome back to Cooking at Pam's Place. I'm Chef Pam and today we're getting ready to make a vanilla butter pound cake. Oh my goodness, it is absolutely amazingly delicious. Oh my goodness, we're going to pivot today and we're using a food processor. So this is going to be a food processor vanilla butter pound cake. Oh my goodness. And if you want to learn how to make all kind of homemade food and dishes, easy, simple, made from scratch, take a second and subscribe to the channel. Turn on that notification bell so you won't miss anything. And then just keep hanging around because I have a whole channel full of recipes that'll get you there. Let's get busy. Okay, so we are back. And as I mentioned earlier, we're pivoting today and we're using our food processor. Well, two things. One, my mixer broke, and at this point in time I have no mixer whatsoever. I've never had a stand mixer. I've used a hand mixer, but it broke the other day, and so I have no mixer. I wanted to make this cake and I thought to myself, what are my options? My options were to use a blender or my food processor. I probably can use either. I've never used either, but we're going to use that food processor today. So pay close attention because this cake is going to be absolutely amazingly delicious. Now let's go over our ingredients. This vanilla pound cake, all of the ingredients and information, the exact measurements for everything will be in the description so that you can make it in your food processor in your kitchen too. So the things we're going to need, of course, we need some sugar. We're going to need some butter and some cake flour. Now, I have not bought cake flour. I made my own cake flour, and I will leave the directions for making cake flour down in the description too. You're going to need some eggs, salt, baking powder, vanilla extract, or whatever extract you might want to use if you want to change the flavor. And that's about it. So let's go ahead and get our vanilla butter cake made. I'm going to grab my food processor and I'll be right back. Meet me back in the kitchen. So the first thing we're going to do is prepare our pan. I've grabbed my food processor out. We're going to go in the butter of our loaf pan, and you can use any size or shape pan you want. Take butter. Butter works better. You can use spray oil. Make sure your hands are absolutely clean because we have to use them. And you want to spread the butter all on the insides of your pan, on all four sides, really, really well, all the way up to the top because pound cakes rise. They rise quite a bit. So you want to make sure it's completely covered. Once you have that done, you want to take a piece of parchment paper, and the long way, you want to put this parchment paper right down in there, leaving an overhang on both sides. Then you want to take some more butter and go in on the top of your parchment paper. So I'm going to butter this just like this, like that, on the top of the parchment paper. Okay, I'm going to wash my hands up and I'll be right back. Now, whenever you're baking a cake, any cake, whatever cake it is, you don't want your ingredients to sit once you start making your batter. So get all of your ingredients out, put them out, measure them out. I've got my baking powder measured out. I've got my salt measured out. My butter is measured out already. Pretty much everything, but maybe the very first thing you're starting with, measure it out so it can go 1, 2, 3. You don't put something in and then go run and get your butter or run and get that. So this particular recipe calls for hot melted butter. So right now my butter is cold. I did not bring it to room temperature because it needs to be hot and melted. So I'm going to step back here to my microwave and I'm going to go ahead and get this melted so that when I get ready to use it, all I have to do is heat it up for just maybe about 10 seconds in the microwave so my batter won't sit waiting for my butter to get hot. So microwave safe dish, and we're going to microwave this on high until it's melted and hot. Okay, so my butter is back there melting. I'm going to leave it in there so I can heat it up right before time to use it. Now, this particular recipe also calls for what's called caster sugar, which is a very fine sugar. It's much finer than the regular granulated sugar that we use. It's used a lot in England, and it's very, very hard to find in the United States, and it's also pricey. So we're going to make ours just like we made our cake flour. So the recipe calls for 1.5 cups of sugar. So I am going to use a cup, not 1.5 cups, 1 1/4 cups. I'm going to use 1 1/2 cups. I'm not measuring that extra off because as I make this into caster sugar, I'm going to lose some sugar. So I'm compensating for that with just a little bit more. So I need to grab a towel to put on the top of my food processor, so I'll be right back. Okay, the reason I needed a towel to put over my food processor is because as I pulse this, it's going to turn finer and you're going to get that dust floating up, and no matter, even if I just covered this with my hand or something, that dust seems to seep out. So I'm covering the whole top of my food processor with this towel, and we're just going to pulse this a couple of times. We don't want to turn it into powdered sugar, but we want it just a tad bit finer than it is right now. Let's check. Ooh, see all the powder that came out? Ooh, that's what we were avoiding with the towel. Okay, this is perfect. It's just a little bit finer, and I only pulsed it just maybe about 4 or 5 times. It could stand to be a little bit, but I don't want to turn it into powdered sugar either, so we're going to stop right there. Okay, let me sit this down. Okay, now we're going to add in our baking powder and our salt. And we're going to pulse it again. We want to incorporate that salt and baking powder in there together. And I'm going to run it on low actually for about 5 seconds, 5 or 10 seconds. Ooh, okay, need to let that powder settle down before I open it back up again. Okay, now we're going to go in the food processor with our eggs. And our vanilla. We're going to blend this until it's well blended and incorporated all together. Okay, again, about 10 seconds. Now, I am going to take this out because I don't need that in there. I am going to grab my butter, and we're getting ready to put the butter in here as well. All right, so now while our food processor is running, we need to add the butter in a slow, steady stream until all the butter is in and it's incorporated. So let's go ahead and put our butter in. Now we're going to pour our batter into our mixing bowl we have right here. It smells amazing already. If you guys could smell this, oh my goodness. I may never bake a cake in a mixer again. Well, I don't have one right now, so it'll have to wait until I get one anyway. Okay, we're going to go ahead and set this aside, and I'll be right back. Okay, now that we have our eggs and sugar and everything mixed, we need to sift the flour in here and incorporate it in 3 parts. So, basic mesh strainer is what I'm using to sift this flour in here in 3 parts. Incorporate it by hand just until there's no clumps of flour and there's no streaks of flour. Do not over mix your batter. Okay, so our batter is all mixed and this is what it should look like. You want to go ahead and pour it into your baking dish, your prepared baking dish. Now you want to take a spatula, make sure the top is as smooth as possible. Okay, we're going in a 350-degree oven for about 50 minutes to an hour, depending on your oven, and we'll be back. We are all done. It's been sitting here cooling for a minute, so now we're going to take it out of the pan. Look at that. Doesn't that look amazing? Look how well it rose. Oh my goodness. When you need to pivot in the kitchen, pivot. All right, see how easy that comes out when you do the parchment paper like that? Take it off the sides and we're going to put it on this plate right here. Oh my goodness, look at that, look at that. And yes, we are coming in for a taste test. Ooh, like to see the bottom. It's nicely cooked. Oh my goodness. Okay guys, we are all done and I'm going to cut into it so you can see the inside and we can get a taste test. If you are new to the channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe, give a thumbs up, and share the video out. Let everybody you know that cooking at Pam's place is over here making amazing, delicious, made from scratch meals that you can make in your kitchen too, even when you need to pivot. Oh my goodness, this looks delicious. Look at that crumb. It is beautiful. It is beautiful. It is beautiful. Get another slice because I need to taste it. Yes. I am trying to cut this just as gently as I can. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Look at that. Delicious, delicious. Okay, let's go ahead and get us a taste. Yes. Thank you all so much for coming once again. Buttery vanilla. It is delicious. The texture is amazing. You all have got to try this. Oh my goodness. I will see you all next time. The good Lord willing and the creek don't rise. Delicious.